Can you feel training camp starting before the first practice even begins? That is exactly what is happening in Los Angeles. The calendar says the rookies are almost ready to report, but 4 behind-the-scenes evaluations are already gaining weight. A safety with a critical flaw to clean up, a possible veteran answer still waiting on the market, a low-cost cornerback pushing for a larger role, and a bold prediction involving Justin Herbert. My verdict? July is hiding decisions that could show up in January. Subscribe and follow every signal, because today we are going inside the building to separate the players fighting for jobs from the ones who could change the Chargers' ceiling. The rookies report on July 23rd. The veterans arrive 5 days later. On the surface, that may look like normal scheduling, but that gap gives the coaching staff an early opportunity to see who walks through the door ready for real responsibility. Few players enter camp with an evaluation as specific as Genesis Smith's. The 4th-round safety showed during OT as exactly what attracted Los Angeles to him: the range to patrol the deep middle, the instincts to locate the football, and the ability to close passing windows during competitive drills. Without pads, however, we are only seeing the comfortable half of the story. The biggest concern on Smith's college tape was his tackling. This is not about his size or a lack of tools in coverage. It comes down to technique, angles, body control, and the consistency to finish. Once the contact becomes real, every rep will begin answering one practical question: can this defense put him on the field without watching a contained play turn into extra yardage? That is the kind of weakness a player can improve, and this Chargers environment has earned a level of trust. Steve Clinkscale works directly with the defensive backs, while Chris O'Leary understands the safety position inside and out. In 2024, he helped that room survive constant turnover created by injuries. The smart approach is not expecting Smith to become a complete defender in 1 week. Put him in situations where his range can shine, keep him close to the veterans, and attack those tackling mechanics every single day. The real clue in camp will be how the staff distributes his reps once the pads come on. If Smith continues arriving early to the football and begins finishing with force, the defensive plan gains freedom. A safety who can cover that much ground allows a coordinator to disguise coverages, squeeze passing lanes, and punish late throws. That upside is why Los Angeles drafted him. Now comes the less glamorous but more revealing part of his development, proving he can finish the plays he sees before everyone else. While Genesis Smith works to eliminate a weakness, Joe Hortiz may have an opportunity to reduce an entire area of uncertainty. The competition at left guard includes Trevor Penning, Kayode Awosika, and rookie Jake Slaughter. Competition is healthy. It becomes a problem when a team expecting a deeper playoff run depends on an unsettled combination to figure itself out, while Justin Herbert takes the punishment for the delay. After what the quarterback went through last season, this cannot become an experiment with no safety net. That is where Kevin Zeitler enters the conversation. The veteran remains a free agent after playing for the Tennessee Titans, and he has indicated that he intends to return for a 15th season. That does not mean negotiations with Los Angeles are happening. It means an experienced player is available, the roster has an identifiable need, and the calendar has reached the point where veterans often wait for the right fit before or during camp. For a front office paying attention, that is enough reason to make the call. Zeitler has played primarily at right guard, so making this work would require some flexibility. Cole Strange could receive a look on the left. Zeitler could raise the standard on the right. The coaching staff would then have the freedom to identify its 5 best offensive linemen instead of protecting roles imagined during the spring. That is the hidden value in a move like this. It would not label the younger players as failures. It would elevate the competition and provide real protection against injuries. In Mike McDaniel's wide zone offense, the guards must move, communicate, and preserve the structure of the play. In pass protection, Herbert cannot continue watching the pocket collapse through the middle first, where a quarterback has even less space to escape and reset his feet. Zeitler would bring experience, strength, and a proven history of dependability to a rebuilt unit that still does not have a firm answer at one position. The acquisition cost makes this idea even more attractive. Because Zeitler is a free agent, Los Angeles would not need to send a draft pick to another team. The conversation would be contractual and competitive. If the price is reasonable, and Zeitler wants to join a contender, Hortiz can add security without preventing Penning, Awosika, or Slaughter from battling for a role. The behind-the-scenes read is simple. Waiting for the line to fail would turn this situation into an emergency. Checking on the veteran now could turn that same situation into an advantage. Los Angeles does not have to promise anybody a starting job. It needs to place a proven option into the competition and allow camp to reveal the strongest 5-man combination. Not every important move appears on the transaction wire. Sometimes the change is already inside the building, living in a player who spent an entire year learning the facility, the playbook, and the speed of the NFL. Nikko Reed enters 2026 at exactly that stage. He joined the Chargers as an undrafted free agent after the 2025 NFL Draft, fought his way onto the 53-man roster with an impressive camp and preseason, and now returns to a secondary where the depth behind the starters is anything but overwhelming. Reed's path helps explain why the staff may believe there is more to his game than the athletic testing suggests. He made an early impact at Colorado and added interceptions to his resume. He later transferred to Oregon, took on a meaningful role, and finished his final college season with 2 interceptions and 39 tackles. Lance Zierlein noted that Reed's size can cause issues against bigger receivers, especially on contested catches. He also highlighted Reed's competitiveness, press man ability, and willingness against the run. This is a defender who plays bigger than his measurements, and that earns credibility inside a coaching room. His role in 2025 was limited but real. 5 games, 50 defensive snaps, 26 on special teams, 1 pass breakup, and 2 tackles. None of that makes him an established starter. Those snaps did give the Chargers a sample of how he responds when he steps off the practice field and into a regular season game. His next challenge is bigger than making the roster again. He must convince Chris O'Leary that he can absorb part of the workload left by Benjamin St. Juste's departure. There is an interesting contrast between Reed and Genesis Smith. The rookie arrives with obvious tools and one weakness every opponent will test. Reed comes back with known limitations, but he has already shown he can survive inside and outside, contribute on special teams, and force the staff to keep him. One must prove his ceiling can rise quickly. The other must show his foundation is dependable enough to carry a larger role. The contract also supports continuity. Reed is entering the second year of a 3-year deal, with a reported 2026 base salary just over $1 million. That is a controlled cost for a young player who understands the system. It matters because affordable depth allows the front office to direct resources toward more expensive positions, as long as that player delivers when called. Nobody should treat his roster spot as automatic. Other undrafted rookies will be trying to make the same leap Reed made last summer. That internal pressure is healthy. If he earns more defensive reps, holds up in the slot, and remains useful on special teams, Los Angeles may discover inside its own building part of the replacement many people are searching for elsewhere. I want to take the temperature of this fan base. Should Nikko Reed enter camp as the clear favorite for that expanded role? Drop your opinion in the comments because this quiet competition could determine meaningful snaps when the season gets tight. The inside story now shifts from the bottom of the depth chart to the center of the entire operation. Albert Breer put words to a conversation that has existed inside the NFL for years. League professionals often view Justin Herbert more favorably than part of the public does. Breer's comparison to Matthew Stafford during his Detroit years hits a familiar nerve. Elite talent can become trapped between team results, offensive instability, and rushed judgments until the structure finally produces a season nobody can dismiss. Breer said an MVP season is not out of the question with Mike McDaniel directing the offense and the tackles returning. It is a bold projection, not a February promise. The logic behind it is real. Herbert has the arm talent to attack every level of the field, the processing ability to exploit answers created before the snap, and enough mobility to punish a defense when the original play falls apart. McDaniel built his reputation on motion, speed, and spacing that simplify decisions for the quarterback while making every defensive pursuit more uncomfortable. The deciding factor may be what happens before the pass. With Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt healthy, the offense can restore protection on the edges and give Herbert a less frantic internal clock. If the guard competition creates stability, or the front office brings in veteran help, McDaniel can unlock more of the playbook, marry the running game to play action, and create explosive plays without asking Herbert for heroics on every third down. After back-to-back 11-win seasons ended in the first round of the playoffs, any individual award campaign will only mean something if January looks different. Good! Bolt Nation does not need a trophy used to hide the same old frustrations. Herbert entering the MVP race should signal that the offense has become more efficient, more aggressive, and more consistent when games tighten. Harbaugh has already raised the competitive floor. McDaniel was brought in to raise the ceiling. Breer's words matter less as a summer compliment and more as an early challenge to the organization. The league already knows what Herbert can do. Los Angeles must give him health, protection, balance, and tactical answers that turn private respect into visible control. If those pieces fall into place, the debate will no longer center on why insiders believe in him. The rest of the country will have to catch up to what the Chargers see every day. A quarterback finally entering a structure designed to multiply his talent, not simply survive on it. The signals from this camp tell a larger story. Development without wishful thinking. Genesis Smith can accelerate the defense if he learns to finish plays. Nikko Reed can turn quiet experience into real responsibility. Kevin Zeitler represents an opportunity to protect the plan before a weakness exposes it. Mike McDaniel gives Herbert the setting to turn respect into a historic season. Nothing is decided in July, but smart decisions begin long before the scoreboard demands answers. This is the time to watch who earns trust and where Hortiz is still searching for security. Subscribe and give me your verdict. Which of these inside developments could change the season most? Bolt Nation tracks every detail here before it becomes a headline.